lockdown, quarantine, COVID-19, ventilator, curfew. The coronavirus pandemic has brought new vocabulary and new meaning to old words. Today, we want to talk about underlying health conditions. Not those of your mother or grandfather, but the underlying health conditions of 5 cities, countries, democracies in Eastern Europe. In the air, a dispatch from Eastern Europe takes us to Nada in Belgrade, where democracy is under quarantine, Nelia in Bucharest, where inhabitants are starting to fight air pollution, Claudia in Warsaw, where the electorate still doesn't know if or how they will vote a president, Mariana in Sofia, where entering and exiting is severely restricted, and Uliana in Kiev, where you can smell the fires burning around Chernobyl.
We have a fire here.
How was it in Serbia?
Yes, so here they just the president and the prime minister just announced the state of the emergency before contacting the National Assembly. So it's sort of illegal. I mean, it is illegal. At the beginning they laughed, but literally they laughed and they said this virus only exists on Facebook. It's not real. Please do go shopping in Milano. But it really happened. It sounds like, I invent things, but no, it's true. They told people, go to Milan to shop. You're not in danger. And people were already dying in Bergamo and Milan. So that's how it all started. And then, maybe less than 2 weeks later, they were all super scared and said, oh, we must have all the precautionary measures and so on.
But here they've only declared, because of the elections, they've only declared something that's called a state of epidemic, which allows, it's not a constitutional state, but it's in the other Polish laws, and it allows the government to implement these movement restrictions, but not, they don't have to cancel the elections. So it is really problematic. I mean, we've been talking about threat to democracy in Poland for a really long time.
We really have an issue of media, press freedom for a long time now. And also one of the independent reporters got arrested a couple of weeks ago because she reported on the lack of protection gear and stuff like that in hospitals. And she got arrested immediately, a couple of hours after she published the article.
On which grounds? I mean, what did they?
Well, on the grounds that is misleading information, that hospitals are well equipped, that she is lying, and that that portal and that media is attacking the government, they hate their country. The prime minister literally said that.
Okay, so first of all, it's not known yet if elections are going to happen 10th of May, but the likeliest scenario is that they will happen, but by post, entirely by post, by correspondence, which would be the first time that they do this kind of thing in Poland. Yeah, so the country has no experience with organizing a nationwide poll. This was the scheduled date of elections, and the government has insisted on it, and the reason is that Andrzej Duda, the current president, who is the peace man, he would win these elections. So, peace has no reason to delay elections politically, only if they cared about health and safety of the population. But the thing is that you will have a confirmation about vote for correspondence 2-3 days before the election date, because of the length of the legislative process. And what I think is very interesting is that postal workers, and there have already been, cases of infections among postal workers, and they are frontline workers, and they are talking about doing a strike. And I think this would be extremely interesting, because I don't think any other form of protest can really make a difference, but a postal strike would.
The guy got beaten by the police here, the first or second night of lockdown, because he was walking his dog, and then they decided to let people walk their dogs between 11 and 1.
And it's police which does abuses and gives fines.
Exactly. I think they just couldn't wait. They were they were so happy to have this this state of emergency, because I think they miss war, they miss demonstrations, so they just couldn't wait to apply the force. So it's really looks like a dictatorship for a long time now, but especially at this point, it's just you see that there is no democracy at all, and that all the other problems we have are just enhanced at this time, and it's crazy time.
When the quarantine starts, it was a really good air, because there were many cars that stayed home. It was wow. And now, unfortunately, we have lost this air.
As the lockdown started in Bulgaria, the emergency situation was introduced. The emergency state was introduced on the 13th of March. But we saw that unlike other, let's say, Western European capitals where reduction in traffic led to reduction in pollution, in Sofia this wasn't the case. And many people indeed started questioning whether transport is really the main culprit for air pollution.
Scientists from Harvard's Public Health School recently came to the conclusion that a small increase in long-term exposure to PM 2.5 leads to a large increase in the COVID-19 death rate. Alarmed by emerging evidence of a direct link of air pollution to an increase of the transmission rate and mortality due to COVID-19, a large group of Romanian activists and NGOs petitioned the government to take urgent action.
Yeah, I can tell you a bit the history of how this petition came out. We started from a very small group, and then in less than one day, already 75 people were in this group and wanted to work on this. So I think it was a good momentum when we saw that there was a fire close to Bucharest, which burned during the night, and it affected a lot the quality of air in Bucharest.
The fires in Chernobyl started on the April 4th. Then 10 days after, on 14, there was a rain. So the rain helped to extinguish a fire. Then on April 16, we had in Kyiv a sandstorm, and also we had the most polluted air in the world. I see that it's more about global warming, not about fires or something else, because this winter we didn't have enough snow, so the groundwater's level had decreased. And that's why when we had a fire, it's very difficult to extinguish. But we had a really bad air because it seems like you have a fire here, near to you. Because the smell is very, very, it's like the house is burning now. It's your house burning. And it's very strange because those fires are far from here.
Our government is definitely denying it, and at the beginning the president himself said that okay, the air pollution increased, but it increased at the same amount as our national GDP, which is not true. So, it's just crazy, but it is true that this is the nation of people who are unhealthy because of all these coal-fired power plants, and the environment ministry said that the cars are bigger problems, but we now see clearly during this corona outbreak that it's not the cars, because during the hours of total lockdown, when there were no cars on the streets, Belgrade was, in one day, Belgrade was the most polluted on planet. So even above India and China.
The internal ministry said that the fire situation near Kyiv may be a result of a planned sabotage. That was our internal affairs minister said.
What I know is that at the end of March, very end of March, we had a very bad spell of smog. Like for a few days, it was really bad here in Sofia and in many other cities in the country. Some experts suggest that it was because of the transfer of particles from Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan, so it's a natural occurring event. But at the same time, some are also saying that, interestingly enough, in the case of Sofia, which last year invested quite a lot in sensors that could measure supposedly accurately the pollution levels, the municipal sensors did not register anything, and on their website they were showing that everything is a norm, while the state agency and the crowdsourced sensors, so basically a civic initiative that is monitoring the state of air pollution, immediately registered these very high PM2 levels.
4 winters ago, it started really hitting people. So people got the apps on their phones and they were checking. As I remember in the previous winter, it was almost impossible. Like you finished with one of these clusters, which was like, 200% above normal levels, even 5 days in a row. And then, you had 2 days of breathing and then again and again. And it was really hard to go out,
The death rate because of lung-related or breathing-related problems are increased by like more than 80% in less than 10 years. So this is not communicated. People do not know.
Yes, traffic is a problem, but in our situation, we need to also look at the energy mix in the country, how energy is being generated in Bulgaria. And especially when it comes to electricity generation, 45% of it is from coal. Yes, we're not Poland, but we are also a country that produces a lot of coal and relies on coal. So this is 45% of our energy mix.
The power plants are the worst. I grew up at a place where a power plant was just a couple of kilometers away, and I know many people in this city had lung problems. Many people have asthma, including my mom, for example. So we can now see how it affects people during this virus crisis, because these people lack lung capacity, and then virus comes and decreases that small capacity they already have, and then we have so many deaths. So it is in direct connection with the air pollution. But also not only power plants, I think also the mining companies that are pretty irresponsible with their mining procedure, which is not environmentally friendly, or their toxic waste that goes right into the air, soil, river, and so on. So those are all factors actually directly connected with the health of our residents.
Yeah, I mean, what's bad though with Poland is that, this is as you know, it's a coal-driven economy, and you've got, Poland is the only country that didn't sign up to the EU 2050 goals. Even now, because they are also, not really fully on with this Green New Deal, and now they are saying that the coronavirus crisis is making it impossible for them to take. To make the energy transition. So you have a really retrograde government, and the energy mix is much more complicated than Romania's.
Friends of mine who live in the city center, some of them got these air filters, and they constantly see how the number changes, increases during the day, and it's only maybe one day a week the air is clean enough. So I don't know, we breathe it constantly, we are not aware of the effect. But the problem is that even if we feel fine most of the time, when a virus like this happens, then we see how it can be damaging and how it's all connected, and how we must all care about it all the time and get informed at the first place.
The most, terrifying thing is that it's because of global warming, and global warming is gonna be much more, huge and potent, and we will see it even worse than now. So I am a little bit afraid of that. Then what we have now, it's gonna be only worse.
the last opinion polls, like in the last year, they really show that environment is and air quality is a big concern of Polish people. It's not anymore restricted to I don't know, progressive left-wingers from the big cities or something like that.
The air quality, especially in Sofia, has been a hot topic for the past, I believe, 2 to 3 years, especially since last year. People are really paying more attention. There is increased awareness about the problem and both the health and economic and social impact that it might have.
I'm sure that slowly the awareness is going to get higher. But it's important that people get informed.